later. So let's get our recording going. Y buenos días, buenos días. Espero que ustedes estén bien. I hope you guys are well. What I have planned for today, I will invite you if you want to add anything else in after we're towards the end to do so. What we have planned for today is to take a look at our little reading exercise of the mochilero, talk about that, give you some speaking practice, hopefully do our little questions at the end. So we're going to work on that. I want to work with the other little speaking question will be about sadly, it was in English, Machu Picchu video, which I thought was, even though it was English, for me to give a video in English is rare, but it was such a well done video. And from the point of view of, we have these wonderful ideas in our brains of how something is going to be. And then when you get out there and actually do it, it's like, oh, the reality kind of hits, and it isn't all what you had pictured, which that talked about. That
first of all, I really enjoyed listening to that video, but
second,
it reminded me of two particular places in different parts of Hawaii where, the tourist photos that you see are incredible. But when you get there, you never know if you're going to see anything but clouds.
Oh, yeah, there you go. And that was really what struck me right away, but it totally makes sense for where that is and the altitude it's at. And I know people who have actually gone there, and they've kind of said that, but it's a very difficult thing. And now it's becoming more difficult to get in because they only let in a certain number of people per day. So, and I think it might be limited by time. You might only have I think you are limited to a certain number of hours at the site now as well. So, if the clouds don't lift in your designated time, you're kind of, out of luck, right? So we've got that. And then we'll take a quick look, hopefully at the end, about our other little video, the daughter and dad thing, to see if you have any questions about that. Daughter and dad questions. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of time for commands, but we'll see. Okay. Vale. Bueno, vamos a empezar aquí. De mochilero. Voy a mostrarles. I'm going to show you guys. Voy a mostrarles el artículo aquí que tenemos aquí de mochilero. Y mochilero, la palabra se base de mochila is the base for that word. Yeah, la mochila es backpack, ¿verdad? La mochila. It doesn't show so well on my green screen, pero la mochila es backpack. So when we put an ERO on the end of mochila, we take the A off the end of mochila and we put an ERO, it means, it turns that word, mochila, backpack, into somebody who does that thing. Oh, but we don't do that thing. Oh, but we do, backpacker.
Yep.
Yeah, backpacker. Yeah. ERO often turns something into a job or something that somebody does, like cocinar, to become cook. Yeah, cocinar, to cook, becomes cocinero, a cook, a person who does cooking. And it could be for a living. It could just be for the family, no importa, it doesn't really matter. But that ERO is a useful kind of suffix ending to be able to use. So, de mochilero, De mochilero is backpacking, right? Backpacking in Peru. I had to adapt this a little bit. My little underlined phrase is because I believe one of my pets stepped on my keyboard, perhaps, when I pasted this in, and it did not have a star there. So this word I replaced in there. If you originally read it, I think it got altered, and maybe somebody else got in there and altered it by mistake. I don't know, but I think more likely it's one of my pets stepping on my keyboard. So, okay. I altered this a little from the original because the original article had a lot of past tense in it. And most people in this class don't know past tense, so I try to limit our past as much as possible. I do want to give you some chance to read. Pam, I don't know if you want to come on and do some reading too, so we can, hear our vowels. If you do, this would be a good time, not to translate anything, just to do some practice reading. I'm going to read the first little paragraph here, and then Mark, maybe you can take one part of it. We're going to see if you had any questions on what this meant. Empieza con que. Oh, sí.
I just want to say that I'm actually very much looking forward to, especially with a very small group, so we don't have too many critics out there, to trying reading, because I've been kind of, even if I don't know what I'm reading in terms of translating, I've been trying to focus on making sure I get a reasonable pronunciation so that I don't sound like if I were to try this like later today, the gals that come in to clean up the house, I don't want to sound like I'd rather sound like I don't know what I'm saying, but I don't want to sound stupid.
Well, there you go. We don't want to sound gringo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's always good to practice a little bit. I know that I've told people before in our classes that it's a good thing to, when I don't have it next to me, it's a good practice to record yourself once in a while, just reading something or saying something, take your cell phone, record yourself on whatever little recording app you have built in, because every phone has some sort of recording app, or you can get one easily if you haven't got one in there. And, listen to yourself and listen how close you're getting, especially with those vowels, because the vowels, for those of us who grow up speaking English, it's the simplest thing in Spanish, and yet what we know from English starts to bleed in and interfere with us getting the Spanish vowels out nice and crisp and clear. And that really is usually hitting those vowels straight on exactly as they should be is the most important thing to be understood. So I know a lot of people don't like to record and listen to themselves. Who among us? I love the sound of my voice. But it's a good thing to kind of be able to, do an auto critique of yourself. But we're going to do some of this together just to, again, practice some of our pronunciation. And I will start out for us here. De mochilero de Peru. De mochilero de Peru, backpacking in Peru. See, que nervios, que nervios. Sometimes we've got to put some emotion in our voice when we got an exclamation marks. Yeah, we should make it sound like it. Qué nervios, ¿saben? Llego a Lima para empezar mi viaje por Perú. Voy a estar varios meses acá, pues quiero descubrir todas las tierras mágicas de este país. Y eso va a tomar bastante tiempo, right? Que nervios, what nerves? And you wouldn't say it that way in English, but it's somebody exclaiming how nervous they feel. Que nervios, ¿sí? Y saben, do you guys know what? This is assuming you're talking to your audience as a you guys. More than one person is reading this article. So the ustedes is not pronounced, the word ustedes is not said, But when somebody says saben and they're talking to more than one person, they will typically omit the ustedes. Yeah. The question is saying, you guys know what? You know what? Yeah. I'm arriving in Peru to start my. I'm arriving in Lima. I'm arriving in Lima, or I get to Lima to begin my journey, my travels through Peru. I'm going to be several months. Varios looks like various. You're not too far off if your brain is translating it that way, but varios is several. I'm going to spend several months here. Pues is just like saying so. Pues literally is well. I want to discover all the magical lands of this country, and that meaning taking a bunch of months, discovering the country, that is going to take quite a bit of time. Bastante here would mean quite a bit. Bastante, if you look it up, well, the first definition you'll probably see is enough, but here it's going to take quite a bit, quite a lot of time, bastante tiempo, okay? And one of the words that you probably need to focus on when you practice pronunciation with these set of sentences is this word mágicas, mágicas, because here's where our English bleeds over to and interferes with your brain wants to say the word magic really badly, okay? Because that's the way your brain processes that spelling, like the word magic. And it does mean magical, but we have to pronounce it as magias, or mágicas, mágicas. See? Mágicas, with a ch sound of that GI, okay? So that is maybe one of the unusual, that GI sound, mágicas, one of the odd things we have to focus on a little bit more. Marcos, do you want to take the next little short paragraph there?
Sure.
Sí, quieres, bien.
El viaje en avión desde los Estados Unidos es bastante largo. Dura casi 7 horas, pero es muy cómodo viajar en primera clase con asientos bien grandes. También puedo leer el periódico y comer un menú ligero antes de llegar a mi destino.
Muy bien, muy bien, muy bien. And I noticed that you pronounced this word, which again has got one of those troublesome sounds really, really well. There was no mistake there. Ligero, ligero, see, light. We're going to point out a couple things about this paragraph. I want you to notice this word bastante. There are other words that might be used in Spanish as modifiers that are similar in use to bastante. You know, bastante tiempo might mean enough time, but bastante can mean quite.
Would mucho work right there?
Kind of, yeah. Bastante is implies quite a bit, quite a lot. Something is quite something. Es bastante interesante. It's quite interesting. El camino es bastante largo. Sí, bastante largo. Literally there, bastante, we wouldn't use the word enough. Bastante largo, quite long. Okay, largo, not large, but long. So quite or pretty, P-R-E-T-T-Y, pretty long. Yeah, is another term we use in English, pretty long. So could you put muy largo in there? You could. But, you know, alternatives to muy, or in some cases mucho, right? El viaje en avión, the train trip, starting from the United States is quite long, rather long, pretty long. There's the function of bastante. Dura casi 7 horas. It lasts almost 7 hours. It takes durar. Think of durar as duration, because it almost looks like duration. That's the job of that verb, durar. Dura casi 7 horas. Its duration is almost 7 hours. It lasts. We in English will commonly say it lasts. It takes. Okay, that means we're talking about the duration of the trip, right? So durar is what we use when we say something takes a certain amount of time. Okay, dura casi 7 horas, takes almost 7 hours, but it's very comfortable to travel in first class with
Now,
big.
how many backpackers travel in first class? Come on.
Oh, nadie, nobody. Yeah, I see, you say, yeah. Nadie en primera clase, no. Bien grandes, con asientos bien grandes. Here is another little word that is useful to know. Just like we have bastante largo, we might put bien in front of a description. And bien means well, but saying well big, no. Yeah, nobody says well big. Con asientos bien grandes, with, again, pretty big seats. Asientos bien grandes. Bien is often used kind of like bastante is used to say quite or pretty. Or in this case, you're saying very big, rather large. That's the job of bien. So you might hear bien combined with a description to say quite, rather, very. Yeah. You might hear bastante. So notice these little tweaks to make our language interesting. These are very natural ways people will talk. Bien grande. Es bien rico. It's quite delicious. Bien rico. Good and tasty. Yeah. We have a lot of little tweaks in English we might add to give that feel for descriptions. And this is one of them in Spanish, bien. I can also read the newspaper and eat a light meal. Menú ligero. Menú, I know a menu, but it's talking about a light meal, light snack, yeah, before arriving at my destination, my end point, mi destino, bien? Okay, bien. Pam, I don't know if you want to take a quick read here or not, or if you're just here to listen, that's okay too. And I'll just watch it.
She put a note in the chat box about something about having some work being done at the house at her house.
Oh, that might be, sí, bien. Okay, gracias. Okay, I'll take a turn here. ¿Por qué viajo a Perú? Why am I traveling to Perú? Me encanta la cultura peruana y su gastronomía, y quiero hablar español. I love Peruvian culture and its gastronomy, meaning it's food culture, right? We have that word gastronomy in English as well. And I want to speak Spanish. Voy a practicarlo con los peruanos durante todo mi viaje. ¿No es genial? I'm going to practice it with Peruvians, people from Peru, throughout or during my whole trip. Isn't that great? Genial is a great word to know. Genial means great. It looks like genial. It doesn't really mean genial, but it is a positive attribute. Genial means great, awesome, fabulous, right? It's used to describe something in a superior way. And notice what we did with our little word lo. We did one of the things, here is one of those examples of taking a little pronoun, not a reflexive, but any little object pronoun, lo, is referring back to español. And we can tag it on to the end of practicar because we've got a verb, voy, followed by an infinitive, voy a practicar. So you could phrase that as lo voy a practicar, or as they did in this article, voy a practicarlo. But again, in practice, it's one of those little object pronouns tagged onto the end. Okay. Vamos a ver, vamos a ver. Ooh, I gave you a harder one. Take as many sentences as you feel like there, Mark.
Okay.
Para poder.
Yeah. Para poder visitar muchos lugares, llevo equipaje ligero, solo una mochila. Mochila o mochila?
Mochila.
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 Okay. Tengo un presupuesto medio para esta aventura y no quiero estar en hoteles de 5 estrellas. I like your question. I'm the 5-star guy, but I can't afford it.
Bien.
Para experimentar la vida cotidiana del país, voy a quedarme en hostales o alojamientos económicos.
Muy bien. Your noises are great. Son geniales, Marcos. They are great. Okay.
A 6-syllable word is just not fair.
A 6-syllable word is not fair, right? Yeah, I stuck that on you. Maybe we'll let Liza take a quick tour after that.
Of that word, alojamientos, I guess I should have looked it up. Is that like, in context, is that like just in general accommodations or something like that?
Exacto, exactly right. Alojamientos means lodging, accommodations, it refers to, lodgings, accommodations. Bien. So in order to be able to visit a lot of places, many places, I take along, right? Because remember, llevar means to take along or carry. I take along light luggage. Equipaje is luggage just in general, light luggage, just a backpack. And if you see a lot of things from Instagram or whatever, there are really, I would say the last few years, it's all been a thing of, because of a lot of baggage getting lost, actually a really strong trend, even for a 2-week trip, is just take one item. And, a lot of people are proponents of that. Take one item, take one piece of hand luggage and don't check anything. So that article is in this vein. Yeah. Okay. Tengo un presupuesto. I've got a medium-sized budget. Yeah. For this adventure. And I don't want to be in 5-star hotels. No quiero estar en hoteles de 5 estrellas. I don't want to be in 5-star hotels. And this word experimentar, I defined for you because it is not what you expect experimentar to mean. It means experience. In order to experience everyday life, la vida cotidiana, everyday life in the country, I'm going to stay in hostels or cheap accommodations. Económicos is a way of saying cheap, meaning inexpensive. Yeah, inexpensive lodgings, inexpensive places to stay. And that word alojamiento is a mouthful. You're right. That's a bunch of syllables. Okay. Alojamiento. Okay. Lots of syllables. Bueno, a ver. Okay, Liza, you want to take a short paragraph here and do some reading for us?
Well, I guess not, because I have some new technology, sorry. Don't know exactly where I am.
Okay, that's
now.
all right then. That's okay. El primer lugar que visito, the first place that I visit, es la capital Lima, is the capital Lima. Para esta visita, for this visit, hago un tour a pie. And some people do like to use this word tour. They just take the English word tour and kind of make it sound Spanish. There's another word for tour I'll give you in a minute. But I make or I take a tour on foot. ¿Sí? Hago un tour a pie, on foot, a pie, para ver el barrio famoso de Miraflores, to see the famous Miraflores neighborhood. And we wouldn't really translate Miraflores there, although it means flower view, yeah. Y pasar por sus calles and go through its streets, yeah. Pasar can have many, many meanings, but it just means, in this sense, go through. Okay, a ver. Bueno, no hay tanto aquí. Bueno, Marcos, ¿quieres leer un poquito más aquí?
Okay.
Pero antes.
Sorry?
Pero antes, sí.
Pero antes de salir del aeropuerto, tengo que cambiar unos cuantos dólares soles. Okay, now I was going to ask. It's going to change dollars. Is soles the currency, or
soles is the currency? Yeah.
I didn't expect that. Somehow I expected like pesos, but
yeah, sol, which means sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sol is the name for their currency unit. So that's why they put it as soles, because like we would say dólares, plural, they say soles. Bien.
Okay, cambiar unos cuantos dólares a soles, porque mi tarjeta a veces no funciona en varios pueblos.
Bien, sí, exacto, muy bien. But before leaving the airport, I have to exchange. Cambiar means to change, but in this sense, it's exchange because it's a monetary transaction. I have to exchange unos cuantos, a few dollars. Yeah. Cuantos means, yeah, cuánto cuesta or cuántos años, how many years, right? Cuantos is how many. But here, cuantos dólares, here's the key. Unos cuantos dólares. A few bucks. A few dollars. For soles, and soles is just the currency in Peru. Because my card at times doesn't work in several towns. So sometimes in smaller towns, you might have trouble with something like a debit or credit card. That's all that is talking about. No funciona means doesn't work. And we use funcionar differently than trabajar, to work. Trabajar talks about people working, or if you have an animal, like a horse or, something that does farm type work, you could use trabajar to talk about that animal. But a living being has to be doing it to use the verb trabajar. So if we're talking about a piece of machinery or a device or a gadget working, any kind of implement or tool you are using working, we cannot use the word trabajar. It has to become funcionar, because those things function.
Like our friendly Cox internet.
Sí, eso sí. Cuando hablamos de mi conexión de internet no funciona, my internet connection doesn't work. ¿Sí? Mi computadora funciona muy bien. My computer works very well, right? Anything that is a device, even if it's the woo-woo-woo of, the internet, it's funcionar. Bien, ok. Y aquí, después de recoger mi equipaje en el aeropuerto, after picking up my luggage at the airport, la aduana tiene que revisar mi pasaporte. Customs. Customs, we use a plural.
Oh, I just wanted to try the rest of the sentence because is that all right? I didn't mean to interrupt.
Exacto, sí, go right ahead. Sí.
I think we're at no necesito.
You can pick it up wherever you want to.
Ningún visado porque voy a estar menos de 6 meses. También mi acuerdo de enseñarle a la aduana mi certificado de vacunación.
There you got a long one. Okay, so let's take that last word apart. Sometimes when we get with these, these long words, yes, they are a challenge. So let's break it into parts. Vacunación.
Vacunación.
Perfecto. Muy profesional. That sounded good. Una vez más, one more time, Lisa. Sí, vacunación.
Vacunación.
Perfecto. Vacunación. And we want to make sure we don't get a shun in there. Vacunación. Vacunación. Vacunación, vaccination.
Vaccination.
Okay. And
Yes.
the word vaccination, interestingly enough, comes from the word for cow.
Oh,
Why? The word for cow is vaca.
yeah.
Same in English as, right? Vaca. Vaca, because long ago, when vaccinations first started, they were done on account of cowpox and smallpox. The very first, massive work on getting people vaccinated. And cows, those milkmaids who got cowpox, and they figured out that, if we vaccinate. So yeah, vacunación on account of cows and their role in medical history. Okay. And I'm going to point out just a couple things here. Revisar looks like revise. And okay, that's getting kind of close. Revisar is used to say that somebody checks or goes over something again. And that when we review something, we look at it again. Always carries that idea of doing something kind of again or coming back to something. So revisar means to look over something again, which is what you do when you revise. So la aduana has to look over or check out my passport. And so when somebody checks something out, meaning they look it over, they examine it closely, that's the verb revisar. Yeah. Check out, look over with care. Revisar. Okay. Revisar is always used as a common verb when we talk about tooling around the airport, because they review your luggage, meaning the weight and your tags and all that stuff. They might even open up your luggage and revisar el equipaje, right? Whenever they open up your luggage, it's revisar. Think of revisar as examinar, examining. Yeah. Revisar. Okay. Bien. No necesito ningún visado. I don't need any visa. Visado is a visa. I don't need any kind of visa. Yeah. And literally it sounds like I don't need no visa, which in English is terrible, double negative, but in Spanish, sometimes very necessary. And here we get the double negative, ningún visado. We get rid of the o at the end of ninguno because it's one of those odd words that gets a truncated, take off the o for the masculine form. I don't need any kind of visa because I'm going to be here less than 6 months. See, menos de 6 meses, less than 6 months. I also remember, here is both a reflexive and a stem changer. Acordarse de. Acordarse de is the remember verb. And a lot of us learn the verb remember as recordar, to remember, but acordarse de is an equivalent for recordar. And acordarse de is actually, para mí, en mi opinión, es un verbo más común. This is really I think this is what you hear more frequently to convey the idea of remember. But the reason that English speakers learn recordar first is that it looks like recorded in your, and it's easy for us to get a handle on, remember, recordar. But this term, remember, me acuerdo de, is actually more common, yet it's more complicated to use. You need the reflexive pronoun, me, to talk about yo, acuerdo, the verb itself, and we need that little preposition de to say remember. So, también me acuerdo de. I also remember to. Enseñarle a la aduana. Show customs. Enseñar means to teach. It also means to show, meaning put something in front of somebody so they can look at it, right? So, enseñarle, here's another great example of we've got an object pronoun and it's attached to the infinitive. Me acuerdo de enseñarle, show them. And who's the them? The them is, who's the le talking about? The le is talking about customs, whoever it is in customs, right? Guy, gal, whoever. Person with a badge, uniform, yeah. So the le is talking about a la aduana, and a la aduana is there so that we know that show them is talking about the customs people. También me acuerdo de enseñarle a la aduana mi certificado de vacunación, my vaccination certificate. Okay. Vale. Aquí, ¿y qué países conocen ustedes? What countries do you guys know? And remember, when we talk about conocer there, it means know, as in the sense of, are you familiar with, have you been to? And conocer is used to say that we know a human being or we know a place very well. And here, of course, is talking about place. We know that because of the word países in the question. ¿Qué países conocen ustedes? What countries are you guys familiar with? That's what it's asking. Bien. Vale. Bueno. Vamos a ver. Ok. Preguntas de conversación. Vamos a ver, y voy a engrandecer esto un poquito más aún. I'm going to make this even a little bit bigger. Vale, bueno. ¿Cuándo viajas? When you travel, as a general rule. So we're talking about a habit here. ¿Cuándo viajas? ¿Usas solamente una mochila o equipaje de mano? Equipaje de mano means carry-on bag. Carry-on bag. Equipaje de mano means hand luggage, meaning something light that you just carry, quickly. Your carry-on. Your carry-on is equipaje de mano. Cuando viajas, ¿usas solamente una mochila o equipaje de mano?
No uso mochila. No uso mochila. Para un viaje corto, uso una pequeña maleta o pequeño equipaje de mano. Pero para un viaje largo, uso una maleta grande.
Una maleta grande, bien, bien. Bueno, cuando yo viajo, trato de usar solamente una maleta pequeña que sí es equipaje de mano, porque varias veces se me perdieron las maletas. A few times I've had my luggage lost. Ok, bien. Y también con mi esposo, a veces sí tenemos problemas con el equipaje en el aeropuerto. Así que trato con frecuencia, trato de viajar con una maleta, pero muy pequeña que puedo tomar conmigo. Bien. A ver. A veces es difícil. Si vas por 2 semanas,
No, sorry.
es muy difícil usar solamente una maleta, ¿no? Una maleta pequeña o mochila, no. Mi hija durante sus años en la universidad, mi hija fue a Austria, ¿sí? Ella fue a Austria, a Viena, la ciudad de Viena, por tres semanas, sí, 3 semanas. Y después, una semana más en Londres. ¿Ok? Y ella me dijo que sí, mamá, yo voy a tomar una mochila. Una mochila por 4 semanas. Y yo le dije a ella, yo le dije a ella, María, eso va a ser muy difícil. Va a ser muy difícil vivir 3 semanas y una semana más, en total 4 semanas en Europa con una mochila, pues una mochila grande, pero una mochila. No hay ningún problema, mamá. No hay ningún problema, mamá. Voy a lavar la ropa en el fregadero, ¿sí? Yo puedo hacerlo. Y la universidad les recomendó a los estudiantes que sí, que ellos tomaran sí solamente una maleta o una mochila. Y bueno, funcionó, it worked, sí, pero era difícil. 4 semanas, ok. Hay que hacer la maleta con mucho cuidado. You got to pack really carefully. Hay que hacer la maleta con mucho cuidado. Empacar con mucho cuidado. Bueno, siguiente. Aquí, ¿sí? ¿Cuáles son las cosas esenciales que tomas en tu equipaje de mano? What are the essential things you take in that hand luggage?
Los artículos médicos.
Artículos, articles, items?
Medicos. Those are artículos médicos.
Artículos, you said that right. Artículos.
Okay, médicos. You know,
Médicos. Okay.
Yeah.
Sí, artículos médicos. Sí. Okay. Let's think of probably what people will mostly say are take medicines, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What if, but
So-
other
I
supplies that are.
cheated, but is it recetas?
Prescriptions,
Yeah.
recetas. Sí. The most common word you'll hear to say taking your prescriptions is this word, medicamentos. Medicamentos. And this will make sense to you. And actually, I'm going to type it in at the end of the little question that you see on the screen. Medicamentos. There are lots of ways to talk about prescriptions, but you probably, as you travel, don't want to use the word drogas. Don't use the word drogas, because drogas, yes, it means drugs, but they're not necessarily, they're probably going to get more the idea of drugs as in, illicit type drugs if you use the word drogas. So you don't want to really say drogas. You want to say your medicines. Yeah. So the acceptable, the smart word, the most concise word to use to answer that is medicamentos. And you could also use the word, besides medicamentos, medicinas, medicines. That works too. Medicamentos. O también es aceptable decir medicinas, ¿sí? Receta has two jobs. Receta does mean a recipe. And when you think of it, a prescription is kind of a recipe. And the word for prescription is receta. I would not use that, even though it does mean prescription. The word they expect to hear you say, like la cuenta, Marcos. Yeah. The word they expect to hear out of you is probably this one, medicamentos. But if you fail to remember that, medicinas, that works great too. Because they don't get the idea of drogas, drugs. They get the idea of, oh, it's a medicine. Bien. Medicamentos, medicinas. Vale, perfecto. Medicamento, ok. ¿Cuáles son las cosas esenciales que tomas en tu equipaje de mano? Medicamentos, medicinas. Yo tomo, a ver, tomo también en mi equipaje de mano, tomo el cepillo de dientes. El cepillo de dientes, toothbrush, bien, y también pasta de dientes y el cepillo de dientes, ¿sí? Medicinas esencial. ¿Qué más? ¿Hay algo más? Is there anything else you put in hand luggage besides medication?
A laptop.
El portátil. La computadora. La computadora El portátil. Portátil is laptop. See, el portátil. I do think in a few countries you hear people using laptop, and they'll just Spanishize it. Yeah. But el portátil. El portátil is your laptop. Bueno, sí. A veces, sí. A veces una cámara. Hay alguna gente que sí, una cámara es posible en el equipaje de mano, ¿no? ¿Algo más?
Oh, I don't know the word. Hold on.
Una cosa que yo tomo siempre, siempre en el equipaje de mano, siempre llevo ropa de interior. Ropa de interior. Ropa de interior, interior clothing. What the heck does that mean? It means
Underwear.
some undies, yeah, some underwear, yeah. Todo el mundo dice, sí, ropa de ropa interior, ropa interior y un traje extra. Ropa interior y un traje extra, one extra outfit. Nada más. Bien, medicamentos, cepillo de dientes, pasta de dientes y un traje extra con ropa interior. Bien, ok. ¿Algo
Well,
más?
well, no tomo los cosas que puedo comprar a mi destino.
Bien. No tomo cosas que puedo comprar en el destino. I don't buy stuff I can buy at my destination. Eso es, sí, exacto. Muy bien.
You don't bring stuff because, yeah, there's
Well,
Sí.
in
can't take with you anyway.
in a handbag, in a carry-on. Okay, if it's my only bag, fine. But if my thought was that if I check a bag, that's where all that stuff goes. Because if I don't have my toothpaste, so I'll buy a tube of toothpaste.
Así es, sí, es fácil comprar pasta de dientes en otro país porque todo el mundo usa pasta de dientes. También con baterías, pilas, batteries. Todo el mundo usa pilas o baterías. Sí, es fácil comprarlas en otro país, por ejemplo, ¿sí? Bien. Bueno, a veces también en el equipaje de mano, como lentes de sol, es buena idea, o crema solar.
What is como se dice charger? Like a phone charger.
Un cargador. Cargar is to load up something, yeah? Or charge something up.
Cargador.
Cargador, sí. Bien, I'm going to see if there's any other sometimes you get more than one term in different countries. A ver, momentito. Descargar is to charge. Vamos a ver. Sí, cargador is the only one I see. Cargador, so I don't see any other little odd thing there. Cargador de batería, sí. No, that one doesn't work. That's one's for an engine things. Yeah, cargador. Muy importante.
Cargador por teléfono. Por teléfono.
Cargador de celular. Cargador de celular, sí. Sí, y esto sí, en el equipaje de mano, sí, eso es muy importante. Nowadays, hoy en día, tomar el cargador, el cargador, sí, de celular o el cargador del portátil. No es fácil comprar un cargador nuevo. A veces no es fácil. Es posible, pero cuesta mucho, ¿no? A comprar o cuesta un poquito a comprar un cargador. Y siempre es buena idea tomar un cargador especialmente para el celular o para el portátil. Bien, buena idea. Hay otras cosas que tomas en tu equipaje de mano. Son esenciales aquí, ¿sí? Medicamentos, cargadores, etcétera. Oh, Liza, you're on mute.
About that. Oops. Like other medical equipment that you might take with you,
Okay.
like
Sí.
sleep apnea supplies or something like that.
Okay. Sí.
Say that.
Equipo médico, medical equipment, equipo médico. See, equipo means team, but it also means equipment. Equipo médico. Y voy a escribirlo aquí. I'm going to write it up here in our little notes. Equipo médico. Perdón, médico. Equipo médico, sí, a veces sí. Hay algunas personas que sí necesitan cosas específicas. Sí, porque no sé, una máquina para apnea, no sé cómo se, I don't know exactly what they call that, pero sí. Ok. Bueno, a ver, vamos a ver. Tenemos aquí otra pregunta siguiente. ¿Cuáles son las cosas que no incluyes en tu equipaje? What stuff that you don't buy? ¿Sí? Y Marcos nos dijo que las cosas que puedo comprar, ¿sí? No traigo, I don't bring along, no llevo las cosas que puedo comprar en mi destino. I don't bring along the stuff I can buy at my destination. Okay, por ejemplo, pilas o baterías. Yeah, there are two words used for battery. Depends on where you go. They might use either one of those terms, pilas, baterías. Sí, por lo general, no. Otras ideas. Como dijo Marco, sí, pasta de dientes. You know, if you're not real picky about your toothpaste, you just want the regular, yeah, you can buy that there. Sí puedes comprar, sí, pasta de dientes en otro lugar. Otras ideas.
Al destino compró una botella grande de agua y algunos snacks para la habitación.
Botellas de agua, sí, se puede comprar agua en otros lugares, botellas de agua, es fácil. Snacks, sí.
Translate gave me snacks.
Sí, snacks might be, pues sí, simplemente comida fácil, ¿sí? Comida rápida. Ok, cosas de merendar. things to snack on. Cosa de merendar, yeah, your little things, your little crackers or pretzels or what have you. See? Bien. Okay.
No
Ah.
cochillo. No cochillo. You don't bring knives with you.
No. Okay.
Stated.
Bien, sí. Ok. Bueno, siguiente aquí. Si es posible, if it is possible, si es posible, ¿a qué país hispanohablante te gustaría viajar? What Spanish-speaking country would you like to visit? They talked about Peru in this particular case. ¿Y por qué? A mí, sí. Sí.
Before I try answering that, I have a question of a phrase that I needed in this.
Okay.
I hear that. What I found, I had to look for that one. What I found was he oído.
He oído, I have heard.
Does that sound about right?
Sí.
Okay.
He oído. Okay. Y voy a escribirlo. I'm going to write it here so that everybody else can see because it's spelled funny. Funny to the English ear. It's spelled funny, not spelled funny in the Spanish sense. That's the I have part. Oído. He oído. I have heard.
Okay. So, me gustaría viajar a Costa Rica porque he oído la gente es muy amable.
Ah, sí. He oído. And one little word you're going to add to this is que. In English, we can sometimes skip the word that when we tag on a clause. I heard he's nice. I heard it's beautiful. But in Spanish, you cannot skip the idea of the word that. You have to include the word that, and that will be the word que. He oído que. I have heard that. He oído que. And now there's going to be a mini sentence after that word que. He oído que la gente es muy amable. I've heard that the people are nice. Que la gente es muy amable.
Mm-hmm.
Perfecto. ¿Sí? He oído que. You can also express that idea with just a shorter word. Oí que. I heard that. Here is something that I think is going to be even more common, however, rather than I heard that. I'm going to give you this because you might not think of it as an alternative. But se dice que. Se dice que would be my preferred way to express that. They say that. It is said that. It might be expressed also as dicen, as a they say, literally they say that. So my preferred for phrases for this, which are only my preferred because these are just phrases that you hear people use a lot. Se dice se que, or dicen que. They say that. Which means the same, which conveys the same idea as I heard that, right? But I think those are more commonly used little phrases. And it doesn't mean that your idea of saying he oído que is wrong. But, you know, you want to go quite often with the phrases that the listener they expect to hear from anybody most commonly. So these, I think, are kind of preferred. So, se dice que la gente es muy amable. They say that people are very nice. Se dice que el clima es estupendo. They say that the weather is fabulous. ¿Sí? Así. Ok. Costa Rica. Costa Rica, un lugar, sí, se dice que se dice que Costa Rica es un paraíso. They say that Costa Rica is a paradise. Es la es la tierra de pura vida. Pura vida is the term you always hear in Costa Rica. It means pure life. And pura vida is used even just to greet people in the morning. Ah, pura vida. Pura vida. Ain't life great? Pura vida is the ain't life great phrase that is used all over Costa Rica. Bien, ok. ¿A qué país hispanohablante te gustaría viajar? And the te gustaría viajar is what we want to pull out and change it into me gustaría viajar a. Me gustaría viajar a. I would like to travel to. Liza, ¿tienes un país?
Okay. Me gusta viajar.
Viajar.
Viajar. So
Sí.
you would say, you wouldn't conjugate viajar.
Just viajar. Me gustaría viajar.
Okay. México. Porque mi familia is travel there. They travel there.
Mi familia viaja. Viaja.
Mi familia
Viaja.
viaja. I don't know what
Or just va.
va. Okay. Mi familia va. Puerto
Allá.
Vallarta.
Over there. Allá.
Yeah.
Allá. Bien. Okay.
Yeah.
A mí me gustaría viajar. Me gustaría viajar. Me gustaría viajar a Argentina y me gustaría viajar a Perú. Y también a Perú por su gastronomía, porque yo soy muy, muy aficionada a sushi y a ceviche, ¿sí? Y el ceviche, que es pescado crudo, raw fish, ¿sí? El ceviche de Perú es un plato muy, muy, muy famoso. Bien famoso. Bien famoso. Es un plato bien famoso del Perú. Y tienen los mariscos y el pescado muy fresco en Perú. Ceviche. I'll write it down for you here in the notes. See?
Spicy.
Ceviche. And we pronounce that V like a B. Ceviche. Ceviche there's a real translation for it, but it is kind of like sushi. It's kind of like what we know of as sushi. See? Ceviche es pescado crudo. It's raw fish, pero con jugo de limón o jugo de lima.
Lemon juice.
It cooks, if you can call it that, in the citrus juices. ¿Sí? Y tienen el pescado. Ceviche es pescado crudo. It's raw fish, ¿sí? En jugo. En jugo cítrico. Jugo cítrico de limón. De lima. Bien. Y bueno, y el ceviche del Perú es muy, muy, muy famoso. Ok. Ah, ok. A ver. Siguiente. ¿Prefieres hacer un viaje de mochilero? Would you like to do a whole trip just backpacking it? ¿Sí? O, o, or quedarte en un hotel de 5 estrellas. Y quizás por qué, and maybe why. Marcos, yo sé, ahora sé que vas a decir. I know what you're going to decir.
Un hotel
¿Prefieres
de
el
5,
hotel de 5? Oh, perdón, ¿sí?
en un hotel de 4 estrellas.
De 4 estrellas, muy bien. Prefiero un hotel de 4 estrellas, sí. 5 estrellas, wow, es un hotel costoso, ¿no?
Sí.
Pero quizás de 4 estrellas, sí, es buena idea, me gusta mucho. Bien.
De,
Sí,
de acuerdo.
de acuerdo, bien. Sí, para mí, cuando yo era muy joven, when I was very young, cuando era muy joven, yo sí, prefería, sí, cuando era joven, yo prefería viajar de mochilero. Ah, pero hoy en día es difícil viajar con solamente una mochila muchos días en un hostal, no tanto. Quiero quizás sí, un hotel de 3 o 4 estrellas está bien, ¿sí? Es porque es más cómodo viajar así. More comfortable to travel that way, ¿sí? Es más cómodo. Ok, bien, vale. Bueno, a ver. Bueno. Y a ver, vamos a ver. Y voy a, un momentito. Voy a mostrarles, I'm going to show you our little thing here, just see if you had any questions on it. We're going to show you our little screen, ¿sí? El video de práctica de escucha, our little listening video. I thought this was just cute, and it doesn't use very difficult language, you know. The only part, boy, there are some things like Formula One racers and that kind of thing. Why, I don't know who those people are because I don't listen to that. So I'm not a very cultured person in the world of Formula One racing. It is popular in a lot of places. So you do notice these little things that, you know, certain types of sporting events and such are more popular. Or certain singers, you know, when she talks about singers or musical groups, you may not know all those people because they're people she's familiar with from her country. Pero, ¿hay alguna pregunta? Is there any question from listening to that where you felt like you missed a big chunk somewhere that I need to check something out for you or no, or not?
You alluded to in the email note the couple of times they used the conjugation vos and some conjugation that didn't kind of click with me. But I wrote down vos decís que. I think you decide that. I think I'm not, or you say that. I'm not even sure. And then the other one I wrote down was vos estés in those videos. You are in the videos. She was talking
Sí.
to the father.
Bien. Sí, eso. This thing of vos is kind of it will feel like a mystery to you, and rightfully so. So let me just show you When you hear some of these videos, because it's kind of it's kind of difficult to avoid vos completely, but we can tell you a few things about vos that will make it more comfortable for you. Okay, what the heck is vos? What the heck is vos? Vos looks like, most folks who start to learn Spanish think, vos, that must be maybe like that word nos, which means to us or for us, but no. Sadly, no. However, is it a pronoun? Yes, it is a pronoun. So you're kind of you're in the ballpark if you're thinking nos, but not quite. And a lot of other people say vos. Is that like a shortening for vosotros? Vosotros is the plural of tú, the you, but the plural you. It's like vosotros is like the ustedes, but a familiar form of ustedes, right? That is used in Spain. So is vos that? No, vos is not that either. Vos is another way of saying you. Oh, can we make it any more complicated? Okay.
Yeah, we need some more ways of saying you.
It is kind of like tú. It is kind of like tú, but it is used in certain places of Latin America. And even when I tell you in certain places of Latin America, sadly, even within specific countries, it might be used in some regions of Latin America, like in some regions of a country and not in others. But you particularly hear vos frequently, especially in Argentina. And because Agustina is from Argentina, also in Uruguay, Paraguay, creo que sí. I think Paraguay as well. So in that segment, but also you will hear it in parts of, but not everywhere, in Colombia. You may hear it in Venezuela. You may hear it in parts of Costa Rica, maybe. So it's very hard for me to tell you exactly where you will hear it. You'll hear it sporadically, let us say. Vos is another you. It is kind of like tú. It is used as a familiar you. And you get people who use vos sometimes even disagree on how close your relationship with someone must be to use the word vos. So just know that vos is a familiar you. And know this, it will affect how you hear the use of present tense. I am not a user of vos myself, okay? So I'll give you an idea of what happens with vos. You'll hear, like in tener, it'll be tenés. It always punches the end of that tú type verb. Bien.
Yes. Okay.
So viajas instead of viajas. Yeah. So notice that stem change of tener doesn't happen. The odd ones, instead of eres to say you are, that tú form of you are, it'll be sos. Wow, how weird that sounds to say sos. But that's the equivalent for eres, but the vos form. So generally, it punches the end of what kind of sounds like a tú form. So just know when you hear it, it'll sound pretty close to what you're used to with tú, pretty close, but it won't be, dead on a tú conversation. Or a tú conjugation, perdón, a tú conjugation. So good that you noticed the vos. Bien, algo más, anything else about that little video that you have as a question, sí o no? Oh, we're almost up to our 11 o'clock hour here, no? Bien. But it was kind of cute, the little questions she had there. Oh, se me olvidó. I almost forgot. Se me olvidó. We had one more question. ¿Cuál fue la cosa más loca que pasó en un lugar turístico? En un viaje tuyo. I'll pop it up in our share screen. This didn't really talk about the father-daughter thing, but let's pop it up on our share screen here. And it does not let me do that, so I'll have to type the whole thing in. Okay. ¿Cuál fue? What was? And you'll just need to use the word fue for where we would say was. ¿Cuál fue la cosa más loca que pasó? ¿Sí? En un lugar turístico.
Please try again in a little while.
En un viaje tuyo, in a trip of yours. ¿Cuál fue la cosa más loca que pasó en un lugar turístico? What was the craziest thing that ever happened on a trip? Algo. ¿O no?
I totally forgot about this question, so I'm just thinking about it now.
Yo puedo decirles, esto pasó, it happened, not pasó right now, but pasó, it happened. Esto me pasó, it happened to me, me pasó cuando yo era muy joven, de 21 años, cuando era más atractiva que hoy, cuando era muy joven, sí. Un chico muy guapo, muy guapo me pisó, me pisó, he stepped on. Me pisó el pie. Me pisó el pie al punto de sangrar, to the point of making the whole foot bleed. Me pisó el pie al punto de sangrar el pie y después me invitó a tomar una copa de vino y me pidió que pasara el fin de semana con él en Málaga. No sé por qué. I mean, I wasn't that attractive. I wasn't ugly either. But, you know, when somebody steps on you to get your attention and then asks you out on a date, see, qué raro. Qué raro. Y fue la cosa más loca que me pasó a mí, a la cosa más rara, que alguien pidió una cita. Somebody asked for a date after making my foot bleed. Thanks, guys. Sí, gracias, pero no. ¿Hay algo? Any crazy thing?
I need help with one word though. To hold.
To
hold something.
Oh, tomar.
Tomar?
Yeah. O tener, depende.
I'll try it then. That word that didn't come to mind, but let me try.
Okay.
So in Australia,
In Australia, wow.
Tomo un oso koala.
Ah, okay. A ver. Oh, una koala.
I didn't take it, but I held it.
Sí. Tomé una koala en los brazos, en las manos.
Sí.
Sí. Ay, a ver, wow.
Tomé un oso koala en los manos.
Wow. ¿Y cómo era? What was that like? ¿Cómo
Uh,
fue?
it was um,
Son animales preciosos, ¿no?
sí, sí, muy preciosos. Um, uh, yeah, they're muy cute, cute.
Cute,
They're very cute,
precioso,
precioso. Yeah.
precioso. ¿Sí? Agradable, agradable, bien, agradable. Yeah, divertido, divertido. Bien. A ver, bueno. Ah, excelente. Excelente, excelente. Okay. I don't want to go too far past our hour here. I've gone a little bit over here, but bueno, a ver, I am going to have a new listening audio, and I'm picking between a couple, so you'll have to wait for the big surprise of which one I choose. I'm trying to pick something at just the right level for folks. A ver, momentito. Tengo que decirles, I need to tell you, I believe, wow, es así. I believe next week is our last, is it our last? Hoy es el 14, no? Today's the 14th. So next week is our last week of summer session. Wow, already. See, okay. So we'll have a little extra something there. Do you guys still want to do a little bit extra with commands or no? Sí or no? Or just some general? We'll do some just general conversation stuff then. Okay. I am still picking between a couple of videos, and there are a few new ones that just came out this morning. So I'm going to check through there. You'll have a video to listen for. You'll have, we're going to do, because I had promised it all session, I hadn't done it yet. We're going to have our little shorty thing on countables, that thing of when we use el or la or when we don't at all. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, and we'll have some conversation questions based on our little listening video for next week. Todo bien? All good?
Sí.
Sí.
Está bien.
Bueno, entonces, sí, nos vemos. So remember to sign up for fall if you haven't done so yet, whichever classes you may be planning to do with Scottsdale, and not just this one, but others as well. Y nos vemos la próxima semana, la semana que viene. We'll see you guys next week. ¿Sí? ¿Bien?
Yay.
Okay.
Until then.
Sí, hasta luego, hasta luego.